Welcome back for another video. It's Eharbad and we're back in Raid Shadow Legends for a bit of a different video today. It's a little bit more what you'd call a mainstream video, which isn't typically what I do on the channel. I tend to just do my own thing. But people often ask me how to manage resources and what should you focus on, particularly as a free-to-play player. And I just wanted to do a very quick video, really looking at 5 quick tips for efficient play in Raid Shadow Legends. The first 2 are going to be very much more focused towards the beginner to mid-game, whilst the 3rd, 4th, and 5th really apply to anyone. Now, tip number 1 is focus on major progress in areas that will return you maximum resources. So with that in mind, the most important part of the game early on to focus in progression, obviously excluding, get your first 6-star, get your second 6-star Minotaur, we'll think you've already got that. It's clan boss. Your overriding goal early game has to be to get Ultra Nightmare clan boss on farm, because getting the top chests, particularly 2 per day, gives you the biggest amount of resources there is. Like, this is where you're going to get all of the resources you need to open up and complete the rest of the game. This has to be the number 1 focus, and basically every decision you make early game should be, how do I get Ultra Nightmare clan boss on farm? Now, once that's done, what's the next best area to focus on, in my opinion? And this is obviously, all of these are objective opinions, but I would say try and get as many factions towards stage 13 onwards as you can, or maybe not as many, but just get some factions to stage 13, because to be able to get the top tier forged materials is huge. Perception gear is massive. And moreover, if you can get a little bit further, you also get the glyphs. Even at stage 14, you're getting up to 5-star glyphs. So between perception gear and 5-star glyphs, that's so much. That's going to be so good for your progression. So that's kind of the second most important area. Then the third most important area, I'd say, early game, and what you want to try and get is normal Hydra. And specifically, even on the lowest chest, I can't show them anymore because I already have her, but Mithrala fragments. You also get some of the best gear in the game in Stone Skin. Let me just quickly jump over to, where is she? There you go. Mithrala, absolutely S tier champion, huge for progression. Getting the Hex with the petrification makes wave content much easier. You have a great cleanser. You have a champion that can be run in very high effective resistance, because the resistance is the addition of the accuracy plus the resistance from the passive, which gives you a lot more options. Great candidate to actually run Stone Skin in, which we also get from Hydra. 4-piece is huge. You have this kind of protected immunity buff, plus its massive damage reduction as well. Like, Mithrala will open up your arena, tag team, Hydra, wave content, and as a faction war carry as well. So huge champion. And obviously the sooner you get normal Hydra, even just the very first chest, just like 1.7 million, the sooner you start getting that done, the earlier you'll get her as a champion. That's why it's important to be able to at least get that first chest as soon as possible. Then, we're already, I would say, a little bit into the game by this point, and we've been focusing on 3 particular areas with an end objective in sight. What's the next best thing that you could be trying to progress? Doom Tower, basically, particularly on the hard side. Now, you probably won't be able to complete it, of course, at this stage, but whatever you can do is well worth doing. In Hard Doomtower, you got fantastic rewards along all these stages. Energy, shards, books, really good quality rewards. And there's some pretty good sets to be had. Early game, I would say Guardian is pretty good. I would say Affinity Break is kind of more late game. Lethal's amazing if you can get it. But really, Guardian's a very solid set to get some off early game. But really, you're doing it for the resources rather than the sets, I would say. And then even on the normal side, the Fragment Champions are actually very good. And again, the sooner you can start to pick up the fragments, the better. It's just one of those things. Do as much of it as you can. With Cursed City, the newest addition on the block, I mean, do what you can, but I really wouldn't get distracted by it. I think it's very endgame content, even on the normal side. The actual stage rewards, some of them are okay. Do what you can. There's a few energy nodes. The gear is ultimately going to be great, but it's actually very hard to get a good sets of it. I've found, even completing hard most rotations now. It's like I said, do what you can, but don't get distracted by it. Tip number 2: keep working on your side goals, but don't be too distracted by them. Really, in that regard, I'm thinking of things like your Arbiter missions. Do them, but don't be tunnel vision focused on them, but definitely get on with them. Similarly, if we went to, I think it is in here, the Drexar fragments, keep plugging away and picking them up, and do as what you can. And the same with the Yakal fragments, which I'm pretty sure fall in the clan shop. Again, all 3 of these, work on them. There's no point not. Like, the sooner you work on them, the better. They shouldn't distract you from Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. They shouldn't come ahead of you trying to get those forge materials for Faction Wars, and they shouldn't come ahead of you getting Mithrala fragments. But you should be doing them as well. Now, the third tip, and these ones really do apply to everyone, is ignore the FOMO. Do not feel compelled to do every event and every tournament in the game, or even every fusion. Commit to completing things you can do and want to do, and entirely skip otherwise, to conserve maximum resources for when you actually need them. Be selective, be deliberate. So an example of that is, I decided very early on in this Titan event that I wasn't going to push for the 4-star soul. I thought by doing the majority of the events, I would pick up the 3-star, and I kind of hoped I'd get the Eternal Soul coins. But if I'd been earlier game, I probably wouldn't have even pushed for that much. I'd have been happy just to pick up whatever I could along the way. And that is ultimately something you need to make a decision on relatively early. Now, right now, I actually could turn around and finish this 4-star if I went and did the entire Path of Light. But that would be a big resource burn just before a fusion for essentially a return that I had already decided wasn't worth it on the upfront. And that's kind of, to an extent, what I'm getting at is that don't feel compelled to chase things. Either make an informed decision early on that you're going to do it, but do reevaluate. And if it turns out that it's not going to be possible, cut your losses as early as possible. Try to do things and see how they go. And if it turns out you can do it, then make a logical evaluation as to whether it's worth it. So right now, I kept the option open by doing the majority of the events. And like I said, this would now be possible. But to do it, I would have to pick up this 100 points here along with the 250s. And truth be told, it's just too many points to get there. So it's not worth it. Like, the amount of sacreds I'd have to pull here just to get a 4-star soul. I don't have Mikage yet. If we go to the fusion, I'm still missing this Ilsinia. Not in the path of light to get Ilsinia, so yeah, and they're very expensive, the epics there anyway. So I think the only reason to pull for one of these epics would be if that was the only epic you needed to complete the fusion. In any other circumstance, it's just not worth it. And looking at the location, given the 100 web points, and if you wanted to pick that up, probably Indalia would be the one you'd be hoping you needed, because the rest, wow. Anyway, they're all pretty badly done, but I think it gives a good reflection of saying ignore the FOMO. Make a judgment early on and be selective, don't chase everything. Now, tip number 4 is do retain a reserve of resources. You never know what events are going to pop up. You don't know what the next fusion is going to be. You don't know when the next guaranteed is going to be. So keep a reserve so you can do these events, particularly as you can do back-to-back if required. Now, I'm a bit overkill at this point. We know that. But it's partly because I had a reserve, a couple of years ago. And then by doing videos trying to show people how to play efficiently, obviously I've continued to build up a bigger reserve because I'm trying to show how to play the game with resource accumulation rather than resource depletion. And as a result, I tend to have my resources continually ticking higher. The exception to that is gems. I have started burning those a bit more frivolously than I used to, particularly with Centranos and the current Marius missions. But I consider that an investment in progress. And again, don't be afraid to use your resources if it's going to get you a significant guaranteed progression. That's basically what we're looking for. But try and keep a reserve so you can do things when they pop up and you don't have to stress about it. Now, number 5 is look for opportunities in tournaments and events to maximize your return on resource spend. Now, if we look at the tournaments, what I'm saying by that is if you can finish in the gem to energy rewards, it's better than bad relentless in general. I wouldn't chase a top 10 finish if it's going to consume more resources than I'm going to get back from the placement. But if I can, get a resource return, then I'm going to try to. Furthermore, if I can line up tournaments and events when they're overlapping and double or triple dip, then that's even better and an even bigger efficiency gain. Now, another thing you can do is when tournaments end, tournaments and events, if you haven't used the energy or haven't claimed the energy, you can just let them expire and go to your inbox and then be selective about when you're going to use that extra burst of energy to ensure that you're maximizing your energy spend at optimum time. So particularly if you know there's going to be an overlapping situation coming up in the next couple of days, delay. Now you can't delay the playtime rewards. You can't delay the daily or advanced quests, but you can delay a little bit the weekly. So I do actually have to use this one today because when I finish this, then I'm going to have completed all 5 daily quests. But today on a Sunday is actually not a bad day to have that energy, extra energy refill, because I can do Iron Twins. So this is kind of what I'm getting at, is be deliberate on your timing of energy. Another example of that is on normal Centranos. I have 1 energy node left. It's the last stage I have to do. And I don't have to finish it right now. I have 5 days. I can wait until Clan v Clan, for instance, or wait until I need that energy. So I have some extra energy refills in reserve. And the other example of that actually is the free gifts we get. So every other day they give us an energy refill. These have 99 days to expire. So if you're not going for this community Titan event, you can be just saving those for the next fusion, and you'll pick up like between fusions. If there's 2-week gap, you'll pick up 7. If it's a little bit more, you might end up even getting 10 of those before you need the next one. So you can actually be very deliberate about the timing of your energy use. Anyway, that's it. Those are my 5 kind of tips that I wanted to share with you today, and I hope that will help you in your endeavors within the game, and make sure that you get maximum progress for minimum resource spend. As always, thanks for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.